Alrighty guys, we're back for Golgari Viper, and this is a Foundation Standard Brew, and I'm Red Cat. Let's briefly go over the deck, then hop right into some ranked, but first things first, this was a suggestion down in the comments. So thank you so much for the suggestion, it's gonna be a fun one. Of course, here on the top end, we have all 4 Rottenmouth Vipers, and in this deck list in particular, I think it's gonna be super easy to get this cheap, like 2 mana, 1 mana sometimes, cards that come into play but also generate other cards like Vinereap Mentor is going to be pretty darn good. So 2 mana 3/2, but when it enters you get a food also. When it dies you get a food too, so you don't feel too bad sacrificing it to the Viper, right? Other cards like Welcome to Sweettooth, it's a very similar concept. You're playing a card, you're getting another card into play too. So kind of successfully ramping you 2 times into the Viper. That's what the whole deck list is actually trying to do. Witch's Vanity, a similar concept here, but Witch's Vanity is also acting as part of our spot removal too. Annihilating Glare, also more of our spot removal, sacrificing artifacts or creatures, and then destroy target creature or planeswalker. Pretty good, even though it's sorcery speed, I think it's going to be excellent in here. Even if we're not sacrificing an artifact like a food token, we got a whole bunch of creatures that we just wouldn't mind sacrificing to this, like 4 Greedy Freebooters. When it dies, scry 1 and create a treasure token. Okay. We got 4 Infestation Sage. It's a 1 mana 1/1 when it dies. You create a 1/1 black and green insect creature token with flying. Okay. We also have 4 Spiteful Hexmage. Also just, again, fitting that concept of play a card, but it also comes in with another card that we could totally sacrifice to the Rottenmouth Viper. And then as far as the Cursed Roll tokens go, like you don't have to put it onto the Hexmage. You could put it onto one of your other 1/1s anyways. Then also, as we know, Cursed Roll is a great thing to sacrifice to something like Braids. So we got a couple of Braids in here. Of course, Braids in general, I mean, look at all those 1-drops. It's totally fine to sacrifice some of those creatures to a Braids ability. Also, for Llanowar Elves too. Look at this. We're rocking the fancy pants version of Llanowar Elves. But yeah, it's totally going to do the thing in here, isn't it? Okay, Spinner of Souls. Here's a new one. A 3 mana, 4/3 Spider Spirit with Reach. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, you may reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card. Put that card into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. That seems perfect for this build. Oh my goodness, there's a reason I'm opting for all 4 of them. I really want to see it today, and I also think it's going to be excellent in here. Okay, the mana base. We got a 70% split with a 40% green. Look at this. 70, 40. Beautiful. And then we got Blooming Marsh for early. We got Llanowar Wastes for early land as well. We do have a 1 of Fountainport, hopefully not holding us up at all. If we had more Fountainport, I do think they would hold us up on like the Vinereap Mentor, for example. But yeah, 1 Fountainport should totally be fine in here. 20 total mana should also totally be fine. That's a lot of 1 mana cards. Okay, honorable mention. Some of these are pretty important. I thought about Tough Cookie for here. Twitching Doll could have been neat. Lord Skitter Sewer King could have been pretty good in here. Midnight Reaper. Sentinel of the Nameless City. Doubling Season. Okay, I think it's a little bit unnecessary on the top end of this build in particular, as this is a Golgari build that's actually trying to go very fast. And then Restless Cottage also almost made the cut. But again, we're trying to go pretty darn fast, and only 20 mana. I bet we would never actually get a chance to power up that Restless Cottage. Okay, guys, I do my dandiest to save the more in-depth discussion for the end of the video, so look forward to that. In the meantime, let's go ahead, take this into some ranked, and see how we do. All right, right into that first game. What am I expecting from the build? A little bit, dude. I don't know. Like, I feel right now we're seeing a lot of Golgari mid-range rocking the demons and whatnot, but I feel like there's just so many great ways to put Golgari together and be relatively successful. Like, look at this hand. This hand looks great. Except without the dual land, we actually don't have a turn 2 Braids on the Elves, but we could still try it. Oh, Fountainport's not Mirex. What am I doing, guys? Oh, we should mulligan. We should. Yeah. Okay, there we go. Woo! I'm so used to playing with Mirex that I was thinking, oh, mana fixing. I will try the elves, and then if elves sticks around, we'll have green for a couple more turns until we draw it, right? No, that is not how Fountainport works. Okay. Well, I like seeing the removal. The question is, do we keep Annihilating Glare or Witch's Vanity? And Witch's Vanity is probably the card we keep. I want to keep the Rottenmouth Viper because seeing that game 1 here sounds really nice. Sounds a little weird to send the Braids to... Well, maybe it is the Braids. No guarantee that, like, we could just find more green sources off the top. And we'd be relying on the treasure to cast the Braids anyways. Alright, I talked myself into that one. Alright, get the Marsh down, get the Freebooter down. Let's see if Witch's Vanity has a target here on turn 2. There's a lot of aggro deck lists that'll give us a target, so we'll see. If we hit a turn 1 Heartfire hero. But let's be real, if it was a turn 1 Heartfire hero, the opponent probably would have went first, so. Alright, it's being held up on the opponent's turn here. We'll go ahead and pause the recording until they show up. Uh-oh, guys, the opponent did not show up. Well, crap. I'll take my turn, we'll pause it again, and this might be a sample hand. Yeah. Oh, the opponent's here, alright. Hi, opponent, you missed a turn, buddy, so, I mean, if you win this one, then I guess it was well fought and well deserved, right? Yeah, missing an entire turn is pretty brutal. Guess we'll start with Welcome Sweettooth. Okay, nothing's sticking. Swing. I'll tell you what though, Dimir could totally get there. Kind of feel like the opponent might be lagging out or something. What do you guys think? They might have froze at the beginning? Had to restart? Okay, they do get their second mana down. Food token. We got the Rottenmouth Viper, but that is not something we want to see a counterspell from, so it's probably Braids for the turn. Always start with the swing. Although Rottenmouth Viper, we don't really need the counters from the Sweettooth, so maybe we go 3 mana Viper. 1, 2, 3. Get treasure token from Freebooter. Yeah, we'll try it. We'll try it. And I'll tell you what, if it is a counterspell, then at that point too, that pulls the opponent back into the game a little bit for missing that first turn, right? So maybe it'd be a bit of a closer game. But if it is a counter, we're not actually losing too much here overall. I'll keep the Hexmage on top. I actually really like that here, since we have Braids in hand and everything. Now, it's a relatively early Viper, let me tell you. I guess it could just be spot removal, easy peasy for the opponent. The sorcery speed on Annihilating Glare is going to show itself here a little bit, right? Not being able to keep that open on the opponent's turn with our treasure token. Totally fine, though. It should be value enough. It's a nowhere to run for the 1/1. Huh. They missed some of their other removal guys. That's great news. Yeah, I think Dimir can actually pull this back, so I'm a little concerned. We'll start with the swing. See what happens. The second Blight counter has been established. Oh my goodness, they just take it. I'm gonna hold. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm gonna get the Braids down, see if it lands. And we'll sacrifice the artifact because they don't have an artifact. There it is. Okay. Well, I would say that we got pretty darn lucky, guys. That was a little bit of a silly game. Opponent missed an entire turn. They missed all of their spot removal other than a nowhere to run. So, of course, that doesn't hit a 6/6 Viper. They missed all of their counter spells, getting the Braids down. Yeah. Yeah. That's, has to be one of the luckiest games I've had in a while, I would say. Seriously, though, I think Dimir could have started to pull that back. Depending on what Dimir's hand looks like, they could have missed 2 turns and maybe we would have been struggling a little bit, right? It depends sometimes. It really does. Here we go. We did have to mulligan that game too, though, so I guess we were missing 1 card. Yep, I'll keep this. Tell you what, if we get to keep Llanowar Elves around, a turn 2 Spinner of Souls sounds really good. Uh-oh. We don't have the early removal like we had in the last game. Oh, dear. Oh, which is Vanity. Cool. We'll see if we are forced to use that next turn or if we're successful in ramping into Spinner. Raging Battle Mouse. Okay, opponent. I'm down. We should probably pop that. We're fine. Let's get that ramp that I wanted. Let's do it. Spinner of Souls. Cool. I guess, oh, Heartfire Hero, okay. I guess we could do some fancy things with Rottenmouth Viper next turn if we do... No, never mind. Well, welcome to Sweettooth. 1/1. Yeah, we don't really want to sacrifice the elves when we can just tap it for a green source, right? Unless we want to sacrifice elves to trade it out for what Spinner's trying to do. Oh no, Spinner! No, get down! No! My Spinner of Souls, you monster! I was so excited to play with my little Spidey buddy. Okay, well, the good news is Llanowar Elves is still here, and it's not going to be burned from the opponent, so we're going to take the turn here. First of all, Heartfire here is way too much of a threat. Just like in general. A Raging Battle Mouse would have been a decent one to clean up, but let's be real, everything on the opponent's board is kind of sort of a threat, but Heartfire Hero is probably the biggest of the threats. Alright, welcome to Sweettooth. Try to get this Viper down next turn. Get food token from welcome to Sweettooth and food token from... We get a food token from both of these. So we can well, food tokens help us gain life too. That could be important. Oh, Screaming Nemesis, that's a problem, dude. They got 6 on the board, 1 mountain open. If it is a... Ooh, they keep Raging Battle Mouse back. We should... If we chump the Nemesis, we can't gain life for the rest of the game. We take 2. Any other target, they'd pop the Elves. Let's take the 4. Okay, more mana actually isn't terrible. Being able to do multiple things here, like an Annihilating Glare on the same turn as the Rottenmouth Viper, seems really good, actually. And then we actually have Welcome to Sweettooth, number 2, for the turn 2. We can actually do everything successfully here, right? So we don't want to sacrifice the elves. We want to spend the elf mana. And then we want to go, let's see, this one. We don't really need the Wicked Roll, do we? That's 2 mana, right? Sacrifice 4. 2 mana here and here. Keep you around, keep our chump blockers around. Hope that's okay. Then Annihilating Glare. Let's see what they do with the Rottenmouth Viper first. Annihilating Glare is going to have to hit the Nemesis, though. And I think we keep our chump blockers and we can ditch the Llanowar Elves now that we I guess we... Huh. I don't know. I guess it... I guess it depends. We could have sacrificed the Llanowar Elves after tapping the Elves for the mana, right? We could have tapped for the mana. Okay, they end up just taking the damage there. And this is sorcery speed. We want to do it now. Sacrifice artifact or creature. At that point, we might as well sacrifice the tapped creature. I don't think we need ramp on the Elves anymore. I hope that's okay. And then we keep all the blockers back, especially in a deck list that's running Witchstalker Frenzy. This could still be incredibly devastating. If we lose Viper to something so simple, then I think we're in danger, bro. Getting the Nemesis off the board, though, means our food token on the second Sweettooth could actually gain us some life, which could be really good, of course. Want as many other chump blockers back as possible, because we want to start swinging with the Viper, too. Yeah, see, like, we're probably going to have to take this. Case of the Crimson Pulse. Oh, nice, opponent. We're probably going to have to take this. They go for the swing. No, we can't risk taking this. We can't risk this. Dude, they got one mountain open, 2 cards in hand from the case? First of all, I really like the opponent's mono red list. This is really nice. I really like it, opponent. So we're at 9. They got 1 mountain. If it's a Monstrous Rage, it's actually just +2 because they already got a monster roll. But if it's... What else could they have? They already played their second card, right? That was Case. Yeah. Yeah, Case was their second card. I can't think of what would get that last point of damage through. But I'm still going to try to prevent 1 in case I'm miscalculating somewhere. So, of course, Trample's getting through for 5. We go down to 4. With 1 mountain open. I don't know if they played a mountain, right? Because they could play a second mountain and then have a lightning strike. Which means if we would have went down to 3, gets a hired claw. Mountain off the tops. Or swamp. Swamp off the top's really bad. They don't know what's at hand. Let's see what they do with the Viper. Dude, I can't believe we actually, like, we might need to just keep the Viper back as a blocker. Nah, that's not fun. Let's go for the swig, see what they do here. Yeah, I really appreciate the opponent's mono red list. Case of the Crimson Pulse seems pretty underplayed in the right list. Raging Battle Mouse. It might be the right list, right? Making the second card cheaper means you empty your hand a little faster. Second spell you cast each turn costs 1 less to cast. Could you imagine? Could you imagine just playing a 2-mana Nemesis after you just poke the opponent's face with a shock style ability? It's kind of insane to think about, right? Guys, we're going to keep the swamp in hand to make them play around nothing. Just in case, making them play a little bit more cautiously might be okay for us. Okay, they go down to 6. We're in danger, but hopefully the food can help us out. Welcome to Sweettooth, actually boosting the 1/1 if we're able to keep the 1/1. I don't think we're going to be able to. We're going to be forced to... Let's see. We'll be at 7 after the food. They got 4 on the board, +1 with the Hired Claw, plus another 1 with the Hired Claw ability. Only activate it once each turn. Monstrous Rage. They're not even going for, like, combat tricks. Like, they're just going, like, check out my big creatures. Oh, another Screaming Nemesis. That's that, huh? That's that. We're dead. Oh, buddy. And also, rocking the celebration from the Raging Battle Mouse here, too. So, doing the Monstrous Rage before combat means the Nemesis costs the 1 less, so it's a 2-mana Nemesis. So if they still had cards in hand, which you can see the deck list is trying to do, I really like the opponent's mono red. It's so cool. They keep Nemesis back, but they still have 7 on the board. Okay, never mind. I got a little excited there for a second. Actually, they have more than 7 because Hired Claw's also getting through here too. So we go back up to 6. I mean, we play it all out. And then we take 7. Dude, good game opponent. Really like their list. It's always awesome to see something that you just don't get to see very often, right? And Raging Battle Mouse is one of those cards. And just working with the other mice too then that are probably in the list here. Especially with the Rockface Village, Heartfire Hero, and there's a couple other mice that probably made the cut too, right? So, neat. Okay, well, let's keep the ball rolling. I don't know what the opponent's mono red was so different from what we usually see mono red when we're going up, when we're making these videos, right? What does the mono red deck list that you can buy from the shop look like? Because actually, I have no clue. Because maybe that was the list. Not really sure. But I feel like if the one from the shop, I feel like we'd still see that one more. Okay, opponent goes first. We keep this. This is not a bad hand at all. Oh, guys, we probably could have survived one more turn if I kept Viper as a blocker, by the way, in that last one. But I don't know, man. Especially with the Screaming Nemesis. Oh. They got rid of my Vanity. Luckily, it doesn't hit our important creatures here, which are pretty darn important, I would say. Come on, Spinner Souls. I want to see you do something awesome today. Has a huge target on his back, though. Since it says another non-token creature, right? Got rid of my Llanowar Elves. How could you, opponent? We still got turn 3 Spinner of Souls. I hope we don't find more mana here. There's a reason we only got 20 mana. Also, got pretty greedy with the Viper in that last game, too, guys. That entire last game could have just been my fault, honestly. Or it could have just been how freaking awesome the opponent's deck list was too. I'm still thinking about that Raging Battle Mouse. I haven't visited that card in forever, dude, and we got to revisit that. Sentinel of the Nameless City, a third Rottenmouth Viper. Crap. That's not good, dude. That's not good at all. Go for it. Go for it. All right, let's go for it. Let's do it. Dude, we're in danger. We're in so much danger. Oops. So we get to replace one creature. We get a 1/1 back as well. 1/1 flyer. See what they do with the first blight counter here. Greedy Freebooter actually isn't bad, I guess. And maybe we'll be able to pull off a second Viper next turn if we flood and see mana. Sentinel, okay. Yeah, going for the Viper and sacrificing the Spinner of Souls feels pretty bad, right? But at the same time, when you're up against Golgari, they got so much removal. Okay, so we found the 5th mana. Would we go Freebooter first for the sake of scrying treasure token? Probably. Sacrifice. The scry probably really comes in handy then. We start with that because it affects combat. Because we see what they do with the blight counter on the other one, right? That makes sense in my head, so I'm going to go for it. 1, 2. It costs 4. The treasure token. Welcome to Sweettooth is totally worth keeping on top, I would say. Okay, see what they do with this blight counter. They take the 4. They got a great double block here, but it's worth it for 2 blight counters coming through, especially since we got the second Viper on the board. They go discard 2. See, totally worth it. And we'll take care of the chunkier one. Yep, that is assigned correctly. That brings some value back in our favor. They go Tranquil Frillback, maybe gain some life. They do. They go up to 14. They play a land. Mosswood Dread Knight's going to be a great sacrifice. Welcome to Sweettooth. Yep. So we could just go 6 mana Viper. Start with the swing, then the other Viper in hand's a surprise too. They got a great double block. And welcome to Sweettooth. We could sacrifice the 1/1 and the treasure. They go sacrifice the Dread Knight, they take 4, then they got the double block, and we want to block the Sentinel. We're getting some value, I think. So 1, 2, 3, 4, sacrifice the human, then we get a food token next turn. Or we could keep the human around. 1, 2, 3, 4. No. That does not math. That does not math properly. Let's see what they do with this one. Yeah, triple Viper. They take the 4. Yep. Mosswood Dread Knight comes back. It's a great sacrifice. They go down to 5. Duress. Oh, no. Yeah, the only way that Welcome to Sweettooth play would have worked is if we sacrificed Welcome to Sweettooth as well. Oh, crap. Preacher of the Schism is perfect here. 1, 2. They're in this, guys. But we still swing with Viper, right? Am I being too greedy with all this? I don't know. I can't tell. We go for the swing, I guess, right? They sacrifice, they go down to 1, then they block it trades, right? So did I do the right things? If I would have kept these Vipers back instead of swinging, I think that the opponent would have had so much value anyways. I have no idea. I really don't. Golgari versus Golgari, and I think they're really showcasing why we see this Golgari all the time. But at the same time, I might just be playing it out incredibly poorly here too. Spinner of Souls is an excellent top deck. Really, really good. A Braids would have been better, but that's also fine. Power up that Cottage. Now, this is where they start getting some life gain back. They keep Dread Knight as a blocker, which of course trades right into the Spinner of Souls. They go back up to 4 anyways. We're going to go for the chump, see if we find better creatures off the top. I hope that's okay, because now if we find a Braids, we're going to be a little bit sad, but we'll see. Take action, of course. Spinner of Souls. Oh, okay. Oh, and another Hexmage too. Spinner of Souls. Trade into the Dread Knight. They got 3 there. Trade, grab a creature. Not worth it. So we need to re-establish value. And since they're going back up to 4 here anyways, yeah, just not worth it. We got a very similar thing next turn. Swing with Cottage, go up to 7. We block with Hexmage, but we're grabbing 2 creatures this time, guys. Unless they find removal, of course. Yeah, they can go up to 7, so they're still safe. Llanowar Elves and Greedy Freebooter. Okay. Okay. So they don't know what that is. We could full swing. They go up to 7. They block for sure. But we get 1 more creature back to hand. It might be the 4th Rottenmouth Viper. Okay, now we risk the swing. They also have Fountainport for the chump too. I don't know, man. I can't tell if my plays have been just way too greedy this game, or if we weren't swinging with those Vipers, if they would have just had an unlimited amount of value anyways. That's really tough to say. So take action. Another Llanowar Elves. Okay. We'll play everything. Play everything. Yeah, these Spinner of Souls have given us so much value, but we might be wide enough, but probably not. They still have a food token here too, so yeah, definitely not. I think this is still heavily leaning towards the opponent, even though it's 3-19. I think this is heavily leaning towards them. They go for card draw on the Dread Knight. They play Dread Knight because it's a great blocker. Fountainport, get a Scavenging Ooze down, even more life gain on this board for the opponent, where they can keep food token and gain off the Ooze here. Another 3/3 is really bad. Fountainport. Actually not half bad. Of course, the tokens don't work with Spinner of Souls, but the extra card draw really goes an extra mile, doesn't it? If we go full swing, they go back up to 6. Swing here, get 1 through. If they could just take the 3. Either way, I think we want to swing because we're trying to trade these 1/1s out for better creatures on the Spinner of Souls ability, which is actually terrible, isn't it? Oh, Anoint with Affliction. It's the opponents. It's definitely the opponents, guys. That's rough business, man. Yeah, it was only a matter of time until they found some spot removal, though. So brutal. The opponent gets a swing of 10, and we're going to play this out. I want to see more off the top. Triple Rottenmouth Vipers. Maybe if I was a little bit more patient on when I played the Vipers out versus like what I actually sacrificed to those early Vipers too, but probably not at the same time. And again, if we went any slower, I think this would have been Golgari mid-range. Oh, we don't talk about it, guys. We don't talk about it. We forgot the Fountainport. The only reason we're playing this out is to let the opponents get their swings on in and for the quest and everything, but we definitely still wanted to try to play it out a little bit better than what I'm doing here. I was talking right through it, letting the opponent just do whatever the heck they wanted. No, Fountainport was a good land to draw for a very good reason, so I definitely wanted to use that. And then we could have drawn this turn too. 2 food tokens, the Ooze growing beyond what we can deal with anyways. Yeah, no, I'll keep an eye on the Fountainport and not talk through it this time. We do have some pretty good chumps here too. We'll take the 7, probably just block with the Freebooter, and then we'll try the card draw on the Fountainport. And we could generate Fishy for more chumps as well, but I think this might be a little bit better here. And yeah, we'll just take the 7, because if they find the last 2 through something else, then that's also fine. Because outside of playing this out, it would have been a concede anyways. So Vinereap Mentor isn't bad. It gives us some card draw. If they find another Anoint with Affliction, that's pretty bad, I guess. No, I like the Mentor. And then we draw off the Fountainport by popping the treasure and see what's under the Mentor too. They also go for the card draw on their Fountainport as well. Find another land. So sacrifice a token, draw a card. We get the Mentor into hand. Yeah, since the opponent's back up to 8, I hope there actually wasn't a way through here, guys. Since I missed that turn with Fountainport, that was silly. Okay. Mentor comes down. We still have the cards draw on the Fountainport, which we can do now, or we can gain off the food. The Dread Knight's Trample. Again, yeah, we're just doing this just to see more off the top anyway, so let's just go for the card draw. We'll do it now because it could affect our turn if we find another 1-mana card. Like Annihilating Glare, for example. Wow. Okay. So we can get the Sage down successfully. And we can... This is sorcery, so we want to do it now. It'd definitely be the Ooze over the Dread Knight. Unless this said Exile, then we'd consider the Dread Knight, because we can keep chumping the Ooze. They go ahead, a little bit more life gain before the Ooze is gone, huh? I mean, it makes sense. At this point too, yeah, just a back and forth. We might as well swing. Right. Take one from the Dread Knight now. Well, we'll try. It's fine. Everything's fine, guys. They go Fountainport draw on the food since they have enough life here anyways. They go power up that Restless Cottage. So we'll chump Restless Cottage and trade into the Mentor. Uh-oh. Yeah, food token. They dropped the GGs. Oh, it is a GGs. Yeah, that's right. That is right. Well, there was a lot of moments there. Hey, yeah, good game, opponent. There's a lot of moments there where I could have maximized the amount of value we were actually dishing out every turn. I'm pretty sure that was still going to be the opponent's regardless. But now I'm second guessing, man. If I would have had one more turn with the Fountainport instead of talking right through it, it's embarrassing, man. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. That happens from time to time. We'll see if we can make it up to this deck list, which is actually really neat so far. I really like Spinner of Souls. That's a cool one. Holy cow, guys, we're 36 minutes into the video. Oh, hey, well, I have you here towards the end of the video. Make sure you check out that description. We do have that Discord link as well as that Patreon link too, if you're interested in joining either of those up and supporting the channel that way. I like this hand. Then also, guys, with the other YouTube nonsense, we will start with the Sage here. Also, with the other YouTube nonsense, guys, if you like the video, make sure you actually drop it a like. And if you enjoy the channel, then consider subscribing as well. It really does help out the channel. So thank you, guys. All right, they're tapped out. I'm just going to do this before combat. We'll target the Sage since it's already a 1-1 anyways. See what we can get done here. In the potentially the final game of the evening, I'm going to do my best to make up, especially for that last loss. I'll tell you what, 3-mana Viper, but we're up against Dimir, so they could easily remove it. We'd probably prefer getting Spinner of Souls down first. All right. It's a good swing. Spinner of Souls. Yeah, be a little bit patient with the Rottenmouth Viper so the spinner can actually do its job and get us our value back. The only reason we were actually in that Golgari list, or that Golgari game last time for so long, was the double Spinner of Souls, right? Just grabbing us creatures. Kind of insane. Okay, they go Undercity Sewers. They got Treasure Map open. I can only imagine the 2 mana is either Counterspell or open spot removal. It's very likely, I would say. But if they play a 2 mana creature, that would be great. Take it out with the Witch's Vanity and be very happy about that. Opponent is stuck on this Surveil, guys. I guess it was a land. It was a Cavern of Souls. Okay. They do have a cut down for the Hexmage. We do get to replace it. Good stuff, man. We go Treasure Map as well right now. So they don't even keep the 1 mana open. So we're safe for the turn? From another cut down at least. Another Spinner of Souls is actually pretty good, right? So we do have a 4 mana Viper. Four-mana Viper. That's what we do. So we start with the swing for 5. And then we go UU, sacrifice the 2. We get a 1-1. This is freaking sick, dude. Infestation Sage. See what they do with the Blight counter. Probably discard, because they got a lot of cards in hand still. I'd say the opponent's in danger if they don't remove this Viper. And fast. They gotta do it right now. An outrageous robbery is what they ended up discarding. They played Demon on the Cavern of Souls in hand. So that's probably why they sent the other one. That might have been like their 5th mana for a deadly cover-up, but they were deciding like, do they really need a 2nd cavern? So they sent it. That might have been what was holding them there. They pay a little bit of life for the Jace ability. Or the Jace completed ability. They go plus on the Jace, make the Rottenmouth a little bit weaker. We still have 8 on the board. All right, we just go for the swing. All to the opponent's face. Beautiful stuff, man. GG opponent. Well, another Dimir match that was a little surprising, right? No counters, no removal. Well, can't say no removal. They had the cut down, but still, just being able to keep these value creatures on the board again, that is surprising. That's definitely a little lucky, right? I think so. But man, we're doing a lot of cool things, and I really like that Spinner of Souls. Well, hopefully that last game made up for the game before that too. Foundations pack, let's crack it. End of video pack. What do we got? It's Electro Duplicate. Cool. Nice. I don't know when I'll be playing with this or when I'll be trying it out, but because we also have that Molten card that's 1 mana cheaper, but that Molten card doesn't have flashback. So like this fits a very specific list that might also incorporate graveyard strategies or discard, right? So it's kind of neat. All right. Golgari Viper. Here's the deck list again. We're 41 minutes in. I have a thing or two to say about this. First of all, Annihilating Glare, even though it's sorcery speed, still pretty solid, right? And a deck list like this that just has so many creatures to sacrifice and generates artifacts relatively decently as well. 3 of makes a lot of sense. Same thing with the 3 of, which is Vanity. I think this makes sense. Hitting mana value 2 or less is really easy. And against the deck lists that you want to have spot removal against anyways, it's usually going to hit, right? Mana value 2 or less hits all the threats that are very important against all the aggro deck lists that I could possibly think of. And what Witch's Vanity doesn't do then is against those mid-range deck lists that we're seeing way too many of them, man. It's actually pretty bad. The Golgari and the Dimir deck lists that are just Archfiend of the Dross. Archfiend of the Dross has been an absolute star, man. It's something else. At first it's like, it's really good to see people are finally playing with this, but then now it's just like, it's way too much, man. I don't know what you guys are seeing in your meta, but that's my meta. Golgari, Dimir, Golgari, Dimir, and then sprinkled in there every now and then is a breath of fresh air of incredibly fast-paced Boros auras that just completely runs us over, but at least it wasn't Archfiend of the Dross. So that's my meta right now, and Witch's Vanity does not take care of Glissa from Golgari. It doesn't take care of course, Sheoldred, Archfiend. There's other demon builds. We're seeing mono black demons sometimes too. Rock and Bloodletter and Slasher. Witch's Vanity doesn't hit Slasher either. But it's not just in here as removal. As we get to the second phase of Witch's Vanity, you get the food token, something else to sacrifice to the Viper. And the third phase, you get the Wicked Roll token, something else to sacrifice to the Viper, but also pairs beautifully with the Hexmage's Cursed Roll. If that's the first card that you played in the game, you got the Cursed Roll on the Hexmage. By the time Witch's Vanity rolls around, Wicked Roll, replace the Cursed Roll. Now you just got a pretty decent creature there in the mid game. Braids ended the first game, right? Where we got the opponent down to 2. I could see 3 Braids. I could. The double black might be a bit of an issue in some of those matches, especially since our early ramp with Llanowar Elves is green. So you would need an early dual land, play your elves, and then a black source on turn 2, which actually, I mean, that's not going to be unheard of. If you're trying to ramp into a turn 2 Braids, then you don't have anything to sacrifice outside of the elves, which might be actually okay, I guess, depending on what else is in your hand. Spinner of Souls, dude, I like this. This is cool. I like all 4 of them in here too. It's going to have a huge target on his back. Huge. But I like it. I think we're keeping all 4 of those for sure. You guys let me know. Have you had success with Spinner of Souls? I feel like the value that this provides is kind of crazy. Instead of just drawing a card and you're flooding out, you're just grabbing a creature and you need to grab the creatures. Maybe you're missing your top end completely. You're missing all the Rottenmouth Vipers. Well, that'll also help you find those top end Rottenmouth Vipers. In the 2 losses, there's a very small chance that had I played it out better, maybe not a small chance, it might be a bigger chance that I'm thinking, I would have played those middle losses better. I think that the deck list potentially could have pulled it through. So that's something more testing required, but then also, for me, a little bit more practice really could have gone a long way for this deck list. It was actually a little bit tricky for me to decide what was risky enough and what wasn't. And we saw in that last game where I decided to not risk the super early Viper because we just knew against Dimir a very high probability it was about to get spot removed anyways. Take the turn, establish spinner. We found our 4th mana. It just really, really worked out, and we found a lot more value through patience, which is not something... patience is not something I'm known for when it comes to getting creatures on the board and start swinging with them. You know what I mean? Like, that is obviously my favorite part. That's why I love hasty builds so much. But put it on the craft a little bit less list, guys. Like, if you don't have all 4 Rottenmouth Vipers, the list probably isn't worth it. And I don't know if you want to craft those, because I don't know if that's even going to be worth it too. At Llanowar Elves, I know that it has that little mythic symbol down there, but when you craft Llanowar Elves, it is just a common. Well, actually, don't quote me on that. I don't know what happens if you try to craft the Fancy Pants version. I feel like they wouldn't let you craft the Fancy Pants version here, because what we ended up doing was we went up to Llanowar Elves up here and looked at all the different versions. You can go not collected then to see all the different versions. And I think it was only 1,000 gold for this Fancy Pants anime version. Either way, watch out for that, right? If you are going to be crafting it, make sure you're just crafting the common version. I actually don't know how that works since it has the mythic symbol. I think that's just for looks. But I guess be careful, right? Just in case. Anyways, Hexmage, we don't get to see this like ever. And Hexmage is a rare. Sage is just a common. Freebooter's a common. Annihilating Glare is common. Uncommon with the Vanity and the Sweettooth. Uncommon with the Mentor. Actually, just really our top end here. And of course, the mana can be used in other Golgari builds too. The Fountainport was worth it, but you don't do what I did and talk right through the Fountainport. Jeez. And then Fountainport's worth the craft, I would say, too. You're going to find a lot of builds where you can squeeze in a Fountainport or 2. So, yeah, I guess craft a little bit less, but if you don't have the 4 Vipers, the only other way that would make this deck list worth it, maybe 3 Vipers and have another sacrifice outlet somewhere else, too. Maybe that's where the 3rd Braids comes in if you already have the 3 Braids. That's a tough decision, though, because, yeah, definitely more testing required, but it kind of felt cool. It felt decent. Yeah. Guys, let me know what you thought of the deck list down in the comments. I think that's all I have to say, actually. I think this is one of those ones where I just have to say enough rambling. In other words, I'd end up talking another 10 minutes about possibilities with the deck list. Speaking of possibilities for the deck list, you could probably drop a Welcome to Sweettooth down to 3 and go up more spot removal, too. If we had like a one more piece of clean spot removal against that longer match where we were against Golgari mid-range, then one more piece of clean spot removal really could have helped us there. Actually, I just talked myself into that. What do we want? Terra Sunder, maybe? Terra Sunder cleans up, well, 4 mana's a little bit steep for this one. With the kicker cost, of course, exiling anything is terrific. Outside of that, it's artifact or enchantment. There's a lot of great artifacts and enchantments to hit. What about something like Pawpatch Recruit? Not Recruit, sorry. Pawpatch Formation. It hits creatures with flying. And I just got done saying all we're seeing are the Archfiend decks, and then a breath of fresh air when we just get completely destroyed by super aggro, which is really funny. This also hits enchantments, though, and we're seeing a lot of mono-white aggro, too. Mono-white mid-range. Boy, it'd be nice if we saw mono-white aggro. That's a deck list that we got to visit soon. Anyways, mono white mid-range rocking a Caretaker's Talent, cards like that, or draw a card, create a food token. If you're not using the other abilities, you're getting the food token. I like this, guys. I'm going with this because it hits creatures with flying, and we are seeing a lot of flying creatures. Maybe you're not seeing the Archfiend decks. Maybe you're seeing Mini Reanimator. And what does Mini Reanimator have? It has Hadigen. It has Oculus. Dude, Pawpatch Formation. I like that addition. And what that does by going green is that keeps our 70-40 split, that 70-40 split there. All right. I like the change. Yeah. Cool. All right. Now enough rambling, huh? If you made it this far into the video, for real, y'all are champions. I super duper appreciate you, and I will see you in the next video.